Bristol City kick off the Championship weekend with a trip to Pride Park to face Derby County with the hope of continuing their unbeaten start of the league season. Well, starts the season as a whole, and will face a very, very depleted Derby County side, which I will get onto in just a minute. But here's hoping that Bristol City can continue a pretty decent start of the season. So we normally start these match previews by talking about the opposition, and there is only one place to start with Derby County. The elephant in the room is the number of injuries that they have and have harboured for a while now. They've started the season poorly, and when you look at the number of players that are injured, and quite frankly, the players that are injured, the key players that are injured, it's no real surprise. So I asked a Derby County fan, talked to me about injuries, and yeah, I got on a whole essay. It was quite staggering. Owen Beck, who's a starting left back, Sondre Langas, Kane Wilson, who's also formerly of City, who's a starting right back, Corey Blackett-Taylor, Ryan Brewster, who's obviously a new signing, he's not fit to play. Bobby Clark, he's not fit to start the game. He came on against Coventry though. Callum Elder and Ryan Nyambe, who both started against Coventry, but apparently were nowhere near fit to start and kind of had to be put in there because they had no other players, and were both gassed out about 60 minutes into the game, and hence why Coventry really sort of pushed home their advantage towards the end of the game and got 5-3 win. Patrick Aubameyang, who's a striker, new big money signing, he's injured. So is fellow striker last Jorgen Salverson, who's also injured, and influential centre back from last season, Curtis Nelson, he's also injured. So if you put that all together, Derby have two fit defenders at the football club. Let's hope Bristol City can take advantage of that. And as a result, Derby have started the season pretty poorly. But to any Derby fans, that would probably not be the biggest surprise in the world. They've probably been a little bit of an expectation that they've started the season poorly with the number of injuries they have. They lost on opening day, 2 late goals from Stoke meant a 3-1 defeat. And then the next league game, they lost 5-3 at home to Coventry. So they've conceded 8 goals in 2 games. The leaking goals from fun. Goal scoring wise, it's not the worst. Carlton Morris has scored in both games so far. Ebu Adams from midfield. Callum Elder scored a wonderful free kick against Coventry, actually, but it's the defensive side of things where they're missing numbers. There's a real lack of balance. There's a real lack of quality, and mixed that with a bit of maybe early season rustiness, there's just not enough there for Derby to go out there and really put on, a first 11 that's going to be really competitive at this point in time. Hence why they're really struggling and are losing games. So let's shift the conversation back to Bristol City. And yeah, okay, we've got a few injury problems ourselves, but we've been able to field out 2 same starting 11s for the opening day and against Charlton as well. So we're fairly stable. It's a fairly strong looking Bristol City side. Yeah, we've got injuries. You've got Joe Williams, you've got Cam Pring, you've got Max O'Leary, you've got Luke McNally, but you've got a sort of very decent looking starting 11 that's available to Gerhard Struber, with Rob Dickie coming back from suspension, and you've got Max Bird coming back, who's very close to starting. Whether or not you start him, I don't know. I think that would be an interesting call to make. So yeah, you've got a relatively stable looking Bristol City side, which is polar opposite to what Derby can field at the moment. So what changes could Gerhard Struber make? Well, you've got the dilemma of Max Bird, which I've talked about. You've also got the dilemma of George Tanner or Rob Dickie. Or, well, could Rob Dickie come in for Vine or Atkinson? That's probably less than likely, in my opinion. So, 2 of this, if it is a back 3, we've got 2 of the starting centre backs probably locked in Vine and Atkinson. Dickie, I'd be tempted to throw in there. I know he's not started so far this season, and he got minutes off the bench against Charlton. Yes, he started actually against MK Dons, didn't he? So I'd be tempted to throw him in purely because of the physicality that Carlton Morris is going to bring. He's probably Derby's biggest threat going forward. You'd want to try and neutralise that as quickly as possible. Him and Atkinson, I think, would be a good counteract against Carlton Morris, and I think it would probably be our closest bet to stopping him completely. The other change that might be tempting is possibly Mark Sykes, who could come in for Yu Hirakawa. That might be a little bit of a better fit for the physicality that Derby are going to throw at us. And, I love Hirakawa, and they're probably sort of equal in terms of attacking output as well. So you're not probably losing a hell of a lot going forward when you replace Sykes with Hirakawa. And so, yeah, that might be a change if Sykes is on the right-hand side coming up against Callum Elder and Crawley's on the left-hand side coming up against Ryan Nyambe. So you'd expect Derby to be reasonably physical. How are Bristol going to stand up to that? As mentioned, if Rob Dickie comes back into the starting 11 alongside Atkins and Viner, that might be a better sort of kryptonite to what Carlton Morris could offer going forward. Derby have got a real lack of striking options, so despite them being trying to be physical, how will that actually combat? Hopefully for us, not very well. It doesn't work. Hopefully it doesn't work very well. Is what I'm trying to say. For Derby, look, Eustace is a good manager, no doubt, but at the moment he has a bad hand, and hopefully Bristol can go there and just overpower Derby, which is what we can do at this point in time, and hopefully we can take advantage of what is a pretty desperate situation over there. So I did predict this game over on the Championship predictions, which you can check out the full list of predictions. But I did go for narrow Bristol City win. I went for Derby 1, Bristol City 2. Look, Derby are conceding goals for fun. They haven't really got any of the injured players fully back and reintegrated the system, particularly the defensive options. So there is that scope for Bristol City, and as much as I don't really want to come out and say it, it should be a game that at the moment, we should win purely because of the injuries that Derby have. Look, I know it's an away game. I know Pride Park is a relatively tough, difficult place to go, but you just have to look at what we are coming up against. And Derby at the moment are nowhere near Derby I expect to sort of turn up in about 2 months, 3 months' time. I think it will be a completely different Derby side. I think we're a much stronger Derby side as well. So at the moment, we've got a pretty advantageous situation. Let's go out there and take advantage of it. So that is my match preview for Bristol City's trip to Pride Park later today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Score predictions, thoughts ahead of the game, team news. What would you go with? Would you make any other changes that I haven't made or suggested? Would you maybe start Fally? I thought he was okay when he came on against Charlton. St. Clair Armstrong as well. That would potentially be an option. Would you go with Max Bird from the off as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I'll catch you later. Cheers.